Hello and buenos dias. Today I'm very happy that I have my very first subscriber game. One of my, I don't know, 12 or 13 subscribers has emailed me this game with a particular tactic they were proud of and a later blunder that they were not so proud of. But um, they wanted me to go through it on video and I looked at the game. There were some interesting moments. So let's do that. It started off with e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, which could be the Ruy Lopez or the Italian, but instead the opponent plays d4, which, according to the opening book on Lichess, is called uh, the Scotch game, I should say. And I don't think I've encountered that before, maybe by accident in a bullet or blitz, but regardless, my subscriber who was playing with the black pieces captured the pawn. Uh, did not capture this pawn, instead blundered here. And there were a few more mistakes and blunders or inaccuracies as the game went on. But I noticed when I got to right here, I knew I wasn't yet at the move number that my subscriber had mentioned, but I did notice that when this rook moved over, it is lined up with the queen and the king. And so I thought right here, this is a pattern that I've learned to recognize over the last however long I've been studying stuff. And I thought if later on there becomes a really cool bishop move somewhere, it will open this rook to the king, and with the queen pinned to it, which would be awesome. But as it turns out, the opponent saw that and castled. However, the queen is still lined up with that rook. And so here is where I believe, yes, number 12, I think, is the move. No, sorry. Not yet. There. That was it. Okay. Number 13 is where my subscriber came up with this, what they believe to be an excellent tactic. Their idea was that this bishop would be guarded by the knight and attack the queen. This is what I've learned to call a one move attack, which really doesn't have any significance, which is why the computer calls it an inaccuracy. It's not necessarily a mistake or a blunder, but it doesn't do anything because you give the opponent a chance to make the move they should make anyway, lining their queen up with their bishop, getting their queen off this file where the rook is pointing at it. But my subscriber believed that the opponent would block with the pawn, allowing the following tactic. And that's what happened. Because now this diagonal is open, which is that awesome bishop move we talked about earlier, which wins the queen. So my subscriber played check with the bishop, which the king can move, the rook can block. The bishop, for that matter, could come back and block. But the king moved, and my subscriber won the queen. That's the move they were very proud of, which as I replied to them in the email, it's questionable because going back right here, they don't have to block with the pawn. They can just move the queen here, where it would be a stronger position for the queen anyway. But because the opponent thought to block with the pawn, weakening this square and therefore this whole diagonal, it worked. And so from here on out, my subscriber had the advantage and held the advantage through a few different maneuvers. Now, one other thing that they mentioned was this hilarious blunder at the end, which after they get out of check and white recaptures that pawn, you can see the arrow where the computer wants black to infiltrate here, not only threatening this unprotected rook, but also threatening something along this back rank, where this rook can get there pretty quickly, and then the queen can come down. We're not worried about back rank mates at this point because of this rook. If this rook were not here, I believe we would have a back rank mate. Well, if the queen and the rook were out of position, because the bishops guard these diagonals. But anyway, my subscriber did this. Took the pawn, forgetting for the moment that bishops go backwards. But they saw that immediately and felt horrible until their opponent forgot that bishops go backward and did that. So the game went a couple of more moves, and then white resigned. So my subscriber was victorious despite a couple of one very questionable tactic and this end game blunder of just giving up the queen. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that and learned something. I think my subscriber learned something, and hopefully we'll see you next time.